It was a quiet Sunday morning, the kind that used to bring me peace. The smell of black coffee filled the air, and sunlight spilled through the blinds, painting thin golden lines across the hardwood floor. I was reviewing quarterly reports when she walked in. My daughter-in-law, Madison. Polite smile, perfect posture, and a coldness in her eyes that didn't belong in this house. "Morning, Dad," she said sweetly, her voice dripping with the same false warmth she used when investors were around. "We need to talk. Alone." Something in her tone cut through me. When your family runs a multi-million-dollar construction firm like Harris & Sons, you learn to read people, and Madison's eyes told me this wasn't small talk. I nodded. "Go ahead." She placed a neat stack of papers on the coffee table. Legal documents. My name, printed over and over. "Sign these," she said calmly, "and everything stays civilized." I picked up the first page. It was a transfer of controlling shares, my life's work, straight to my son, Ryan. The boy I'd raised to carry this company with pride, and the woman he married was asking me to hand it all over. "And if I don't?" I asked quietly. She smiled, a predator's smile. "Then you'll be ruined. I'll make sure every partner, every client, knows what you did." "What I did?" I laughed bitterly. "You mean what you think I did?" She leaned closer. "Don't test me, Dad. The evidence speaks for itself. Fraud, embezzlement. And the kicker, sexual harassment allegations from your secretary. All fabricated? Maybe. But by the time the press finishes, you'll wish you'd just signed." Charm. For a moment, the room spun. The girl I'd welcomed into my home, trusted with my son, was holding a gun made of lies, and she was ready to pull the trigger. I stared at the papers, then back at her. "Ryan knows about this?" She hesitated for half a second, then smirked. "Ryan trusts me. He'll side with the truth. And the truth is whatever I say it is." That's when I realized I wasn't dealing with family. I was dealing with a strategist. Someone who had planned this for months, maybe years. "Why?" I whispered. "You already have everything." Her voice dropped low. "I want control. You're just in the way." When she left, the air felt heavier. I looked at the framed photos on the wall. Me, Ryan, and Madison smiling at Thanksgiving. Lies. All of it. That night I sat alone in my study. The papers were still on the table, waiting. And in that silence, something inside me broke. Not from fear, from betrayal. If she thought she could ruin me, she hadn't met the man who built an empire from dirt and sweat. If she wanted war, she just declared it. As I turned off the lamp, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number appeared on the screen. "If you want to survive this, don't sign anything. Meet me tomorrow. 9 a.m. downtown cafe. Come alone." Whoever it was, they knew everything. I barely slept that night. By sunrise, my mind was burning with questions. Who sent that message? How did they know about the papers? And why warn me instead of blackmailing me? At exactly 8:57 a.m., I entered downtown cafe. The smell of roasted beans and cheap sugar filled the air. I scanned the room. A man sat in the corner booth, face hidden behind a newspaper, a black cap pulled low. He looked up as I approached. "Mr. Harrison," he said softly, "please sit." His voice carried authority. Federal? Corporate? Hard to tell. "Who are you?" I asked. He slid a small badge across the table, barely visible beneath his palm. FBI. I froze. Is this some kind of joke? I wish it were, he said, folding the paper. I'm Special Agent Cole Matthews. We've been monitoring Madison Harrison for 6 months. I leaned back, heart pounding. My daughter-in-law? You're saying the FBI is investigating her? He nodded. And your son, indirectly. We believe Madison's been involved in laundering funds through shell companies tied to your construction contracts. She's clever, uses legitimate transfers to hide dirty money. I struggled to breathe. And you're telling me this because she's about to make you her scapegoat, he said flatly. If you sign those papers, she'll own every account under your name. Then, when the laundering comes to light, it'll all trace back to you. My world tilted on its axis. She's setting me up, I whispered. Yes, he said. But if you're willing to cooperate, we can stop her. We need proof. Conversations, documents, a confession, if possible. I stared at the badge again. My pulse was a drumbeat in my ears. And what do you expect me to do? He looked me dead in the eyes. Wear a wire. The idea made my stomach twist. Me, an old man, turning into bait in an FBI sting against my own family. I can't. She's my son's wife. Then think of your son's future, Cole said sharply. When this all collapses, do you want him destroyed with her or saved from her? Silence. The truth was, Ryan had changed ever since he married Madison. Arrogant, distant. She had her claws deep in him. Maybe this was the only way to free him. And myself. I nodded slowly. What do I have to do? Cole slid a small black case toward me. Come to our field office tomorrow morning. We'll brief you, fit you with a wire, and record everything. But be careful. Madison's not just manipulative. She's dangerous. As he left, I caught a glimpse of myself in the cafe window. The reflection staring back didn't look like the same man who built Harrison's Sons. He looked older, sharper, and for the first time in a long while, determined. Walking out into the cold October air, I whispered to myself, this isn't revenge yet, but it will be. That night, as I prepared for the meeting, my phone lit up again. This time, it was from Ryan. Dad, we need to talk. Madison knows about your meeting tomorrow. My blood ran cold. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat by the window, watching the rain smear against the glass, wondering where I went wrong as a father. Ryan used to be my shadow, always curious, always proud of what we built together. Then Madison came along and he became someone else. Confident, yes, but colder, controlled. And now she knew about my meeting with the FBI. By 8 a.m., I was in a downtown building that looked more like a dentist's office than a federal agency. Agent Cole greeted me in the hallway with a firm handshake and a look that said, "You're not backing out, are you?" Inside, a small team prepped me like I was about to go to war. A tech specialist handed me a thin black device no bigger than a coin. This wire will transmit audio directly to our van outside your property, he explained. Hidden mic under your collar. You'll forget it's even there. Doubt it, I muttered. Cole stood across from me. Just stay natural. We don't need a confession yet. Just something incriminating. Let her talk. I looked at myself in the mirror. The wire's adhesive patch sat against my chest, right over my heartbeat. I couldn't tell which was louder, the tiny static hum or the pounding in my ribs. Agent, I said quietly, what if she finds it? He didn't blink. Then we better have enough by that point to protect you. When I drove home that afternoon, the house looked the same as always, but I didn't feel like I belonged there anymore. The portraits on the wall, the smiling faces of my family, felt like ghosts watching me commit treason. Madison was waiting in the kitchen, a glass of white wine in hand. Busy morning? She asked, casual, almost bored. Just errands, I said, setting my briefcase down. She circled me like a shark testing the water. You sure about that? Ryan said you had... A meeting. My blood chilled. Ryan told you that? She smiled faintly. Of course. Eric, we don't keep secrets in this family. The irony almost made me laugh. She leaned closer, her perfume like poison. Did you sign the papers? Not yet. Her jaw tightened. Then maybe you should, before this gets messy. I met her gaze. Messy how? She smirked. You'll find out soon enough. Every word was captured, every pause, every cruel tone. The wire beneath my shirt felt like it was burning through my skin, but it worked. She was revealing herself piece by piece, and I had to keep her talking. I sipped my coffee, pretending calm. You've got a lot riding on this, Madison. Seems risky. She tilted her head. You think I'm scared of you? You're old news, Dad. Ryan's the future. I'm just making sure the future starts sooner rather than later. Her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen, smiled faintly, and walked away. I heard her whisper as she left the kitchen. Just one word. Tonight. When she was gone, I glanced at the security camera feed in my study. A black SUV had just parked across the street. 2 men sat inside, waiting. Not FBI. Something else. The SUV stayed parked for nearly an hour. I pretended to read in my study, my fingers resting on the edge of my desk drawer, where my father's old revolver was hidden. When Madison finally stepped outside, she looked different. Not the polished socialite, something sharper, colder. She was wearing a long black coat, her hair tied back, eyes hidden behind dark sunglasses. The 2 men got out of the car and handed her a thick brown envelope. She didn't say much, just nodded and tucked it under her arm before walking back inside. I turned up the volume on the tiny recorder the FBI gave me. Her voice echoed faintly through the wire. Tell Victor the next transfer happens tonight. Make sure the paperwork looks clean. He'll know what to do. Victor. The name sliced through me like a blade. I knew that name. Years ago, when Harrison Sons was struggling, a man named Victor Lang had offered me a business loan. No banks, no contracts, just a handshake. I turned him down. Everyone in the city knew what Victor did. Real estate front, money laundering underneath. Now Madison was working with him. By the time she came back in, I was at the dining table, pretending to review old blueprints. She didn't notice the small red light glowing faintly under my collar. Busy night ahead? I asked casually. She gave a tired laugh. You could say that. I pushed gently. You ever deal with someone named Victor? She froze for a fraction of a second, too short for most people to notice. But I wasn't most people. Then she smiled. You've been doing your homework? Don't worry, Dad. Victor's family. Her words felt like acid. When she left the room, I went to my study and called Agent Cole. She's meeting someone named Victor Lang tonight, I whispered. He's connected to money laundering. It's going down soon. Cole's voice was calm, precise. Stay out of it. We'll track her. Just key, acting normal. But normal was impossible now, because when I checked the SUV's license plate on an old contacts database, it wasn't registered to any company or person. It was government-issued. Someone was already watching us. That night, Madison dressed elegantly. Black dress, silver heels. Business dinner, she said when Ryan asked. He believed her instantly. I wanted to stop her, but instead, I followed. From 2 cars behind, I watched her drive downtown, park near an abandoned warehouse, and enter through a side door. The FBI van was nowhere in sight. I waited 30 minutes before stepping out. The warehouse smelled of oil and rot. My footsteps echoed like gunshots. Through a cracked window, I saw her sitting at a table across from Victor Lang himself, still the same cold grin, still surrounded by men in suits. On the table between them lay documents, money, and my company logo. She was selling Harrison Sons to him. My legacy. My blood. I raised my phone to record it all, but before I could hit record, Victor's voice thundered, "Does he know you're setting him up and the FBI?" Madison smiled darkly. "He will, right before I destroy them both." A hand clamped on my shoulder from behind. "Nice try, Mr. Harrison," a deep voice said, and as I turned, a gun pressed into my ribs. The grip on my shoulder tightened. "Walk," the man ordered, pressing the gun harder against my ribs. The warehouse air was cold and metallic. My breath came out in shallow clouds as he pushed me toward the dimly lit center where Madison and Victor sat across from each other. When she looked up and saw me, her face changed. For the first time, I saw something she'd never shown before. Fear. "Dad?" she whispered, eyes darting toward Victor. "Who is this?" Victor's tone was sharp, suspicious. Madison forced a shaky smile. "Just, family. He must have followed me. He's harmless." Victor's cold gaze pinned me. "Harmless men don't spy on crime lords, sweetheart." I swallowed hard, fighting to steady my voice. "I didn't come here for trouble. I just wanted answers." Victor stood, every movement deliberate, like a man used to control. "Then ask." My mind raced. I couldn't let them know about the wire. I couldn't let Madison realize I'd already betrayed her. "I want to know," I said, forcing confidence, "why my company's logo is on your table, why you're trying to take what I built." Victor chuckled darkly. "Because your daughter-in-law made me an offer I couldn't refuse. She's smart, ruthless. I like that." He turned to her. "But letting your old man snoop around? That's sloppy." Madison's jaw clenched. "It won't happen again." "I'll make sure it doesn't," Victor replied, raising a hand. One of his men stepped forward, gun drawn. Madison panicked. "Wait! Don't! He's still useful!" For a moment, silence. Then Victor lowered his hand. "Useful how?" Madison hesitated. "He still controls certain contracts and old accounts. We can't move the final transfer without his cooperation." Victor smirked. "Then keep him breathing. For now." They let me go, but not out of mercy, out of convenience. As they argued about percentages and clean channels, I studied every move, every word. The FBI needed proof. I was swimming in it. When we finally left the warehouse, Madison didn't say a word. The drive home was suffocating. Her nails tapped against the steering wheel like the ticking of a bomb. "You shouldn't have been there," she said finally, voice trembling with rage. "I could say the same about you." "You don't understand, Dad. You're in too deep now. Victor's not someone you cross." I turned to her, calm and cold. "Neither am I." She looked at me, really looked, and for the first time I saw doubt flicker in her eyes. When we pulled into the driveway, she reached for my arm. "Please, just stay out of this, for your own good." Her tone wasn't angry this time. It was desperate, but I knew better. Desperation from someone like Madison didn't mean weakness. It meant another plan was forming. Later that night, when I checked my jacket pocket, I found something I hadn't put there. A folded note. In messy handwriting. "She's planning to kill you before Friday. C." I didn't know who C was, but I knew exactly what I had to do next. The note sat on my desk, taunting me like a silent ghost. "She's planning to kill you before Friday." It was already Wednesday. Agent Cole didn't answer my calls. The FBI was suddenly quiet. Too quiet. Either they were pulled off the case, or someone inside had been compromised. And that messy signature, C. Could it be Cole? Or someone working against him? My gut said one thing: trust no one. That morning, I found Ryan in the garage fixing the same motorcycle he and I rebuilt when he was 17. The sight hurt. It reminded me of a time when we were still father and son, not strangers living in the same lie. "Dad," he said cautiously, wiping his hands, "Madison told me you've been acting strange." "Strange?" I laughed softly. "That's one word for it. She said you've been accusing her of things, following her." I looked him straight in the eye. "Ryan, your wife is dangerous. She's been using you. Everything she's doing, it's not for the company, it's for her own gain." He frowned. "You sound paranoid." "Maybe, but paranoia keeps people alive." He sighed. "You just can't accept she's smarter than you." His words cut deep, but I forced a smile. "Maybe you're right, but if you ever see her talking to a man named Victor Lang, leave. Don't ask questions. Just leave." He looked uneasy, but said nothing. That night I met with an old friend, Richard Hayes, a retired private investigator who owed me a favor. Over cheap whiskey and stale smoke, I laid it all out. He listened, eyes narrowing. "You've got 2 days. She's already made her move. If I were you, I'd hit first." "Hit how?" He slid a flash drive across the table. "Financial evidence. Madison's fake shell companies. I've been digging since you called last week. She's running money through offshore accounts under your name." I stared at him. "You knew before I did." He shrugged. "You raised a storm, my friend. Everyone in town's whispering, but you still have one card left." "What's that?" "Make her think you'll sign the papers. Get her to confess, on your terms." The plan formed fast, risky, insane, but perfect. I called Madison the next morning. "I've made a decision," I said flatly. "I'll sign." Her tone softened instantly. "Really?" "Tonight. I'll have everything ready. By evening I had the study set up with hidden cameras, my own, not the FBI's. If I was going down, I'd do it on my own stage. When Madison walked in, she looked radiant, too radiant, the kind of confidence people wear right before betrayal. "Smart choice, Dad," she said, pouring herself a drink. "You won't regret this." "Oh, I will," I murmured, signing the first sheet slowly. "But you might regret it more." She frowned. "What's that supposed to—" The phone rang. She froze. I answered. It was Victor, and his voice was furious. "What the hell are you doing? The feds raided my office an hour ago. Someone tipped them off." Madison's face went pale. I hung up and looked at her. "Looks like your plan hit a little snag." Her glass slipped from her hand and shattered across the floor. Did you call them?" she stammered. I smiled faintly. "No, but they're on their way here now." Her eyes widened in panic, and I whispered, "Smile for the camera, sweetheart." Before she could react, the front door burst open. But it wasn't the FBI. It was Ryan, holding a gun. The moment Ryan entered, the world froze. The gun in his trembling hand looked too heavy for him, like it didn't belong there. His eyes flicked between me and Madison. Confusion, anger, heartbreak tangled together. "Ryan, put it down," I said slowly, palms raised. "This isn't you." Madison's voice sliced through the tension. "Ryan, he's lying. He called the feds on us. He's trying to destroy everything we've built." "Us. We've built." The way she said it made my blood boil. "Ryan," I said again, voice low, steady. "You've known me your whole life. I built this company for you. But the woman standing beside you, she's been stealing from us both." "Stop it!" he shouted, shaking. "You're jealous. You can't stand that she made things better." Madison stepped closer to him, tears streaming down her cheeks. Fake tears, like the ones she used to charm investors. "Ryan, please. He's dangerous. He followed me, spied on me, recorded me. He's losing his mind." "Recorded you?" Ryan turned to me. "Is that true?" I nodded slowly. "Yes. Because she left me no choice. She blackmailed me into signing my life away." Madison gasped dramatically. "See? He admits it. He's obsessed with me." That word, obsessed, hit me harder than the gun ever could. "Ryan," I whispered, "look at me. Do you really believe I'd risk everything? Just to hurt you?" He hesitated. For a split second I saw my son, not Madison's puppet, but the boy who once called me his hero. But then Madison spoke, softly, venomously. "He's wearing a wire." Ryan's eyes widened. "What?" She pointed. "Check under his shirt. Do it." I froze. The wire. I'd forgotten it was still there. Ryan's hand trembled as he reached for my collar. When his fingers brushed the mic, his face turned white. "Dad, what is this?" "It's not what you think," I said quickly. "I did this to protect you. She's been laundering Mo." "Enough!" he shouted, voice breaking. "You betrayed us!" Before I could say another word, Madison snatched the gun from his hand and aimed it straight at me. "Madison, don't!" Ryan shouted, stepping forward. But she fired. The bullet missed by inches, shattering the picture frame behind me. The one of our family smiling in better times. The sound was deafening. Ryan screamed her name. "Get out!" I roared, voice shaking with fury. "Both of you! Get out before I do something we'll all regret!" For once, Madison didn't argue. She grabbed Ryan's arm and pulled him toward the door, whispering something in his ear I couldn't hear. He looked back at me one last time, his face pale, his eyes hollow. When the door slammed shut, the silence was unbearable. That night, I sat on the floor among the shattered glass, staring at the ruined photo. I'd lost my company, my son, and my name. But I still had one thing left. The truth. And the truth was going to bury her. As I reached for the phone to call Agent Cole, it buzzed first. "Unknown caller. She's not done yet. Check your car." When I stepped outside, the Mercedes I'd driven for 10 years was engulfed in flames. The fire roared like a living thing. Orange light flickered across the driveway, reflecting in the shattered windows. The smell of gasoline burned my throat as I stumbled backward, watching everything I'd built turn to smoke. My car, my home, my name. Gone. Neighbors gathered, sirens wailed, firefighters shouted. But beneath all that chaos, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Clarity. Madison wanted me erased. Legally, financially, physically. But if she thought she'd burned me alive, maybe that's exactly what I should let her believe. By dawn, the police had filed their report. "Looks like arson," one said grimly. "Could be insurance fraud or retaliation. You got any enemies, Mr. Harrison?" "Too many," I said quietly. When they left, I packed a small duffel bag and drove out of town before sunrise. The world thought I was ruined, and that's exactly how I wanted it. I checked into a cheap motel near the state border, using a fake name, Michael Stone, the kind of man no one looked at twice. That's when Agent Cole finally called. "Jesus, Harrison, are you alive?" "Barely," I said. "They torched my car." "She?" he asked. "Who else?" He sighed. "Listen, the Bureau's pulling out. Victor's gone underground. Madison's not worth the heat anymore." I laughed bitterly. "Not worth it? She tried to kill me." "She's small time now. We've got bigger fish to fry." "So that's it? You use me, then leave me for dead?" Cole hesitated. "Look, off the record, disappear. Forget her. It's over. I hung up. Because he was wrong. It wasn't over. It was just beginning. I spent the next 2 days gathering everything Richard had sent me. The offshore accounts, the bank trails, Madison's false signatures. Piece by piece, I rebuilt her empire on paper. But this time, it led straight back to her. And then, I made one final call. To Ryan. He didn't answer the first 10 times. But on the 11th he did. Dad? His voice was small, fragile. I'm sorry, I said, for everything. But I need to see you. Alone. Where? The place we used to fish, near the old bridge. Tonight. He hesitated. Madison, she doesn't have to know, I interrupted softly. Please, son. That night, the river glimmered under the moonlight. The same place I taught him how to bait a hook when he was 10. I saw him walking toward me, his silhouette familiar but heavier with guilt. Dad, he said, Madison thinks you're dead. I know, I said. Let her. He frowned. Why? Because ghosts can do what living men can't. He looked confused. What are you planning? I handed him a small drive. Everything you need to see. When you do, you'll understand who she really is. He stared at it, silent. You're not coming back, are you? I smiled faintly. Not yet. But when I do, she'll wish I hadn't. As I walked away, I could feel his eyes on me, torn between love and loyalty. That was fine. I didn't need him to believe me yet. I just needed him to doubt her. Back in my motel, I opened the news. A headline glared across the screen. Madison Harrison, named acting CEO after father-in-law's tragic death. And just below it, a photo of her standing beside Ryan, wearing my watch on her wrist. 6 months had passed. The world still thought Thomas Harrison was gone, dead in an accidental fire. The company he built, the family he raised, the name he carried, all buried under Madison's lies. But ghosts, you see, don't stay buried forever. From a dim motel room across the state line, I watched her on the news almost every night. There she was, radiant in designer suits, giving interviews about Harrison Global's new era. Every word she spoke was poison wrapped in charm. Every smile was a dagger with lipstick. And behind her, always, my son, Ryan. Silent, distant, wearing guilt like a shadow. But my time was coming. It began small. One morning, Madison's accountant reported a minor system glitch. An offshore account in Belize had vanished. 2 days later, her legal team received a forged resignation letter with her own signature. By the end of the week, she'd been locked out of her private server. All of it. Orchestrated from my laptop, under the alias M. Stone. I didn't need guns or violence. I had evidence. And fear. The first message arrived on her phone at 2:13 a.m. Unknown number. You can't erase what's recorded, Madison. At first, she laughed it off. But when the next text came with a voice clip, her own voice from the night she pulled the trigger, the color drained from her face. Ryan, he's wearing a wire. He's obsessed with me. The audio was crystal clear. I released it anonymously to a small independent journalist, one known for exposing corporate corruption. By the time morning news aired, the story had gone viral. Harrison CEO linked to FBI corruption probe. The House of Cards began to tremble. Madison tried everything. Bribery, threats, denials. But the walls were closing in. Then one night she got a message that wasn't anonymous. M. Stone. You burned my name. I'll burn your throne. Madison. Who are you? M. Stone. Someone you shot. Would have finished properly. For the first time in months, I slept peacefully. But peace is never permanent. Because the next morning there was a knock on my motel door. I opened it and froze. Ryan. He looked thinner, older. His eyes searched my face like a man seeing a ghost. "You're alive," he whispered. "I told you," I said quietly. "Ghosts never rest." He stepped inside, voice trembling. "Madison's losing control. She knows someone's after her. She thinks it's a rival, but I knew it was you." I met his gaze. "Do you hate me for it?" He shook his head slowly. "No, I think I finally understand." I poured him coffee, the same bitter brand we used to drink during late nights in the office. "Dad," he said softly, "what are you going to do to her?" I smiled faintly. "I'm not going to do anything. The truth will." He hesitated. "And if she falls?" "Then she falls," I said. "And we rebuild the right way." Ryan nodded, and for the first time in years, I saw the son I'd lost. As he left, I looked out the window at the fading light. Madison's empire was cracking. Her fear was spreading. And tomorrow, I'd make sure it all came crashing down. The morning of the shareholder meeting arrived. Madison stood on stage, flawless as ever, cameras flashing, press buzzing. She wore my late wife's diamond brooch, the same one she'd borrowed years ago and never returned. Her voice was smooth, confident. "Today marks a new era for Harrison Global." The big screen behind her flickered, and then froze. The next second, a video began to play. Not part of her presentation. It was her. Recorded the night she tried to kill me. Her voice echoing through the hall. "Ryan, he's wearing a wire. You betrayed us. He's obsessed with me." Gasps rippled through the audience. The investors turned, horrified. Journalists raised their cameras. Madison's face went pale. "Turn it off!" she screamed. "Turn it off!" But it was too late. The final frame appeared. A photo of her signing fake accounts in Victor's office, time-stamped and verified by federal evidence. Then came the voice of Agent Cole himself, played from a recording. "This is Special Agent Cole, FBI. Subject Madison Harrison is under investigation for embezzlement, corporate fraud, and attempted murder." The room erupted. Madison stumbled backward, her mask crumbling in real time. And standing at the back of the hall, unseen by most, was me, alive, calm, watching. Ryan turned in disbelief as our eyes met across the crowd. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then he gave the smallest nod, the kind that said, "It's done." Security moved in. Madison tried to flee, but the cameras caught everything. Her final words before they took her away were a whisper meant only for me. "You ruined me." I stepped closer, my voice steady. "No, Madison, you did that yourself." Outside, the rain began to fall. Soft, cleansing. For the first time in years, the air felt light. I walked away from the chaos, hands in my pockets, no smile, no gloat, just peace. Ryan caught up to me in the parking lot. "She's gone," he said quietly. "They're taking her in." I nodded. "Good." He looked at me, hesitant. "What now?" I turned to him, eyes tired but warm. "Now, we start again. But this time, no secrets, no lies." He swallowed hard. "You're not coming back to the company, are you?" I smiled faintly. "No. The world's had enough of Harrison Global. Maybe it's time for something smaller, something honest." He extended his hand. "Then let's build it together." and for the first time in a long time, I shook it. That night, in the quiet of my small new office overlooking the river, I opened a drawer. Inside lay the old FBI wire, the one that started it all. I placed it gently in a box, sealed it, and wrote on top in bold letters, "Proof that truth always finds a voice." Then I turned off the light and walked away. Because revenge wasn't about destruction anymore. It was about freedom.